There you go.
Good morning. It's the December 9th, 2024 Pennington County Planning Commission meeting. Recommendations of the Planning Commission on certain items from this agenda will be considered by the Board of Commissioners at their regular meeting on December 17th, 2024 at 10:30 a.m. The Planning Commission utilizes speaker request forms, which are available in the commission chambers during the meeting, and those speaker request forms are in the back of the room. If you're the applicant for whatever item we're talking about, you don't need to fill out a speaker request form. It's a roll call, Jerry. Everyone's here. Travis, is this your last meeting?
This is my last planning and zoning meeting, yes.
Okay. Has everyone reviewed the November 25th, 2024 minutes? If so, the chair would address a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the November 25th, 2024 minutes. Discussion from the audience, from the commission. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Approval of the agenda. The chair would address a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
So move. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Discussion from the audience, from the commission. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Approval of the consent agenda. Brittany.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brittany Molitor, Planning Director. The following items have been placed on the consent agenda for action to be taken on all items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda by any planning commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration. The findings of this Planning Commission on certain items from this agenda are recommendations to the Pennington County Board of Commissioners, who will make the final decision. Item number 4 is conditional use permit review CUR 1826 for Kelly and Brenda Hansen to review a recreational vehicle to be used no more than 180 calendar days in an agriculture district, and staff recommends to end conditional use permit CUR 1826 with the applicant's concurrence. Item number 5 is conditional use permit review CUR 1908 for Jeffrey Schur to review living in a recreational vehicle while building a single-family residence in a rural residential district, and staff recommends to end conditional use permit CUR 1908 with the applicant's concurrence. Item number 6 is conditional use permit review CUR 22-05 for Scott and Brooke Sturglerson to review living in a recreational vehicle while building a single-family residence in a rural residential district, and staff recommends to end conditional use permit CUR 22-05 as the use is no longer required. Item number 7 is conditional use permit review CUR 22-20 for Sean and Kelly Dahl to review living in a recreational vehicle less than 180 days in an agriculture district, and staff recommends to end conditional use permit CUR 22-20 with the applicant's concurrence. Item number 8 is conditional use permit review CUR 2335 for Glenda Ron to review an efficiency dwelling in a rural residential district, and staff recommends approval of conditional use permit review CUR 2335 with conditions. Item number 9 is conditional use permit review CUR 2238 for Andrew Evans to review accessory structures, a shop, building, and loafing shed prior to a primary structure in an agriculture district, and staff recommends approval of conditional use permit review CUR 2238 with conditions. Item number 10 is major plan unit development overlay amendment review, PUR 1909 for Donna Hartshorn to review an existing plan unit development overlay to allow for seasonal commercial recreation and amusement structures. And staff recommends approval of major plan unit development overlay amendment review, PUR 1909 with conditions. Item number 11 is minor plan unit development amendment review, PUR 2116 for Carol and Daniel Cooper to review an existing plan unit development to allow an accessory structure as a primary structure. Staff recommends approval of minor plan unit development overlay amendment review, PUR 2116 with conditions. And finally, item 12 is major plan unit development overlay amendment review, PU 23-02 for Katie Smirnova and Brett Walfish to review an existing plan unit development overlay to allow a specialty resort, and staff recommends approval of major plan unit development overlay amendment review, PUR 23-02 with conditions.
Would you want any items removed?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Commission, any items you'd like removed for separate consideration? Okay. Chair would address a motion on the consent agenda then.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay.
Good morning, Kelsey Roush, planner. Item 13 is a conditional use permit application to allow an accessory dwelling unit on the subject property. The applicants are Bradley and Deborah Dorr. They live on the property at 22550 Palmer Road. Staff is recommending approval as long as they will meet their conditions. Property is located off of Nemo Road. This is the proposed tiny home that they are proposing. It will not be a stick-built structure. The conditional use permit criteria, the requested use should not be detrimental or endanger the public's health, safety, or general welfare of the public. The ADU will require a separate on-site wastewater treatment system based on where it is located. There is a, hold on, let me get to the pic. Oh, I didn't put the big pictures up. There is a very large valley in the middle of the property. So this property, or the proposed location is over here on the opposite side of this valley. So they will not be able to hook into the existing septic system. He is proposing a holding tank. He is in the audience, so if you have questions for him. We have received 3 letters in opposition. 2 of the letters are the same letter. We just had 2 different people put their names on them. Let's see. Okay, do you have any questions for me? We are also requiring, as it is a tiny home, to meet the efficiency dwelling condition or criteria. This is a little different because it's such a small proposed structure. So we are kind of making sure that they will meet the accessory dwelling unit criteria and the efficiency dwelling unit criteria.
Okay, are there questions for Kelsey? Charlie?
2 quick ones. One, if you'd show the picture of the tiny, whatever you call those things. Do they remove the hitch?
I believe that's the plan. It's supposed to be on concrete. It's supposed to have a permanent foundation.
Yeah.
So-
But I'm saying, is that remaining? Is that something that remains? Because I guess if I was a neighbor, it kind of looks like you move in and could hook back up and move it anytime you want. I don't think it's a very appropriate thing to leave a hitch if we're talking about that it can't be an RV. The second thing is, I see the way our ordinance is set up, with the exception of the supplier being the electric, looks like there's a new electric line going to it, correct? Yeah. What about the septic? I see the gas is certainly going to be, LPG is going to be, 150 feet? They got to meet the state and county requirements on that. And water. What are we doing there? It can't be, from the distance, it surely doesn't look to me like it's coming from the original dwelling.
Yeah, the applicant will have to answer those questions. I'm not sure
Okay.
what his plan is.
But right now, we don't have any requests for that not to happen. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Madam Chair, for clarity, what do you mean we don't have any requests on that? Because I've seen some stuff about the water concern. What were you saying there at the end? There's no
request through the planning department about the water not coming from the house.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
That's what I understood you to mean, because mine says I'm saying if our ordinance says it's got to come from the house, they got a long way to run it.
Yes, the ordinance does say that unless it's not a feasible option.
Right.
The ordinance says feasible.
No, it does not say feasible.
See, I think the ordinance says if the utility supplier, doesn't it? And meaning electric. There's electric situations where if you're bringing a new line in, they've got to put poles, you've got to do certain things, and it's bid. You pay for that now. You didn't used to. But in the case of water and whatnot, I don't see that they, unless the utility was the water company, it was coming from another direction. Okay.
You'll have to ask the applicant. what
All
the
right,
is.
very good. And I agree with you. That's back to my question. If you don't have that information, then I don't want you to tell me.
No.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
can I ask a question? You said that they propose a holding tank. When you have a holding tank, are you required to have water? Or is that just a holding tank?
Well,
It's not like a septic system.
right. And so the proposed area does not have any space to have a drain field. Therefore, he is proposing the holding tank. He will have to get approval from the state, DNR for that, and do a permit through our office. We don't require you to have water, but I mean, you would have to have water to use the holding tank, so.
Okay. I mean, because there's lots of places that don't have, they have cisterns,
Right.
so.
Yeah, he's really proposing this as an off-grid tiny home, away from everybody type of situation.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Okay, you said the applicant is in
They're
the
here, yeah.
audience?
Yes.
I think we may have questions.
come on up.
Good morning. Winter's back, huh?
Tell them your name.
I'm Brad Dorr. This is my wife Deb with the green coat. I want to thank the committee for hearing me this morning and taking your time to listen to me and answer your questions if I may, okay? I have some statements I'd like to read and answer some questions first, if that's okay with you guys, okay? The reason my wife Deb and I mainly want to requesting a conditional use permit is for a PHR tiny house is to help generate income to pay our income taxes. Our income tax has gone up fourfold in the last 8.5 years since we've lived at that location. And I've also started taking Social Security when I'm 62. I got a cancer scare when I was 61. I was going to work till I was 67. But I'm on a fixed income, so I started working part-time to supplement my income. As you know, with Social Security, you can only make so much. So I worked at the Fleet Farm Greenhouse in the spring, and I started working for the county as a flagger in the summer. And I knew that I was getting too many hours, but I'm not the kind of person that quits, so I kept on till the end. Well, I made too much money. Long story short, I had to pay it back. So my son, the accountant, said, you can get income from rental and not affect your Social Security. So we thought, okay, so we started brainstorming what we're gonna do. Because if I lived to be 92 like my dad did, I want to be out the corner of Nemo Road and Palmer holding a tin cup out because it's going to take all of our savings. So we decided to take some of our savings and invest. You got to spend some money to make some money. You guys know that. So this is what we propose, okay? We know the county supports small business ventures, and this is a small business basically. We want to keep the income local. We know that there was a moratorium for a while, and I think that was because they didn't want the hotels to take all the money out of town, out of the county. My wife also wants to support local businesses with this. She wants to put flyers and a brochure inside the tiny home to promote the tiny businesses in the county. And I sent out 14 letters to neighboring homeowners that the county required, 14 certified letters. I talked to 10 of the homeowners. I went around and personally talked to 10 of them and asked them if they were okay with this. They said they have no problem with it. I couldn't talk to 4 of them. Those are probably the ones I'm having issues with. I don't know if they were at work or at home or just didn't answer their door. But anyway, I sent out the certified letters to them as well. I put in a little note in there and I said, if you have any issues with me or what the process is, please come talk to me. That's the way I do things. I was raised to meet face to face, discuss things. Well, that didn't happen. 2 people made comments that they don't want this to happen. I don't know why. I'm not able to address that. They didn't give me any. The last one was Miss Karen O'Neill, and she did sign a letter. She sent a letter to the commission. I don't know if you have that in front of you. Okay, so I'd like to address those if I could, her concerns, if that's all right. The first one is number 1, and I'll read that. She says in her letter, excuse me while I get organized. If this conditional use permit is allowed, the members of the Palmer Water Association will be looking at a huge expense to put in a bigger reservoir and pump. Excuse me, I'm getting organized here. I thought I was organized, I'm safe. I'm the vice president of the Palmer Water Association, okay? I know well the regulations. At the present time, all the water certificates are sold. We realize this, and at the last meeting in September, which Karen O'Neill and her husband did not attend, they didn't attend the last 2 years as far as I know, they would have known that we voted at the association meeting. We have approximately $127,000 in the bank right now. We're going to go 1 more year, maybe 2 at the most, with our revenues from our water. We pay $300 a year. And our plan is to drill another well, okay? Not only for reserve for the first well, but we have 2 unsold lots in Palmer Addition, okay? And if those houses are rebuilt, we're at max right now. We can't have any more certificates until we have more water supply or 2 wells. The states will allow that. So I have also had 2 homeowners approach me about getting hooked up to Palmer Water in the future if we have another well. And so I said, well, that's going to be wait till we get the well, because they're on a shared well now. There's the one guy I talked to, he said there's 1 small well and they have 3 guys on it, so he's concerned about that. So our plan now is to, until this happens, I'm going to go get a water tank for my pickup, go into town, buy water, haul it out. You go a mile west of us in the valley, there's all kinds of cisterns out there. And that's what I plan to do until we get hooked up to the main water system. So we'll be hauling water out there. To a holding tank, which I said, and we'll pay to hook up in the future when that does happen. Her second concern, or I will read from the bylaws as well. These bylaws were written in 1984. The Palmer Water Association reserves the right and privilege to extend the water system beyond the confines of Block 1 and Block 2 of Palmer Subdivision Addition to allow and provide for connection to the system by owners of nearby property. And another concern of hers was, and I'll read, also the Doors house is built for a family of 4, and I don't know where she came up with that, because our house is 3 full baths, 6 bedrooms, so I don't know what. Anyway, she said they would have to put in a separate septic system. Well, the Planning Commission, we have to have a separate system. I've already purchased the tank because the price was going to go up a third January 1st. So I have the tank that's sitting out there at the site already. And I've contacted hired a certified installer, and they can attest to that. He's working with TJ at the commission, or the planning office. Permits are being applied for with the county and the state. We're going to put in a septic system with drain field, but with the slope we have and the big rocks, it's not going to be a feasible option, so we're going to have to go with a holding tank with an alarm system. So when it gets full, the alarm goes off, it gets pumped out. So that's our plan right now. And lastly, number 4, he says, this is reading again from the bylaws of the Palmer Water Association. All construction shall be original, that is, no previously constructed used buildings, trailer house, or mobile home can be permitted to a place of such property, with the exception of modular homes shall be prohibited. No basement, trailer, vehicle, or structure of any kind except a completed dwelling house, which is the factory definition of that. And except a modular home can be constructed on the residential purpose for any time. Now, we purchased our home from Mertens in 2016. When we purchased our home, there was no covenants, no homeowner association, no stipulations. We did not purchase it from the Palmers, which are now deceased. The Palmers owned all the land around Palmer Road. They sold water rights, and when they sold the lots, they had stipulations of what could be built and what could not be built. So I don't know if this really has any pertains to us anymore or not, since we're not in the homeowners, and this was written in 1984, and we purchased the land from Mertens without any covenants. So I guess you can look at it both ways. Lastly, I'd like to say that I can address Ms. O'Neill's concerns, but the two other concerns, I don't know what their issues are. They blocked out their name, they didn't want me to know. I feel that maybe one of them was, there was a neighbor down the road that got the cart ahead of the horse. He had a septic line dug into his previous septic tank, dug an electric line, and he started renting it out for campers. He never went to the county, never got any permits. So the neighbors got upset because one of the neighbors told me they put up tents on his property. And so I can understand why they're upset. That's not what we plan to do at all. And so I can see where they're upset about that. But our plan is to, excuse me. We're going through the permitting process as required. We're crossing the Ts and dotting the Is. We're doing everything we need to do. I've talked to the three neighbors. As you can see, I don't have that picture up, but our land is, there's 3 property owners around the outside. I've talked to all 3 of them. They have no problem. As you can see, the orange is ours. The property owners to the west, to the east, and to the south, I've talked to all 3 of them. They have no problem with our vacation home rental tiny house. I've constructed a fence between the property to the west and between us, so people cannot trespass on his land. I put up no trespassing signs. And the surrounding property, tiny house, will be used in the southwest corner, as Kelsey said. And so we are constructing a road now across. Even if this doesn't get approved, we need some access to the other side. Because as she said, there's a steep ditch there now. And I can't spray my thistles over there. I can't, in Nebraska, where I'm from, you gotta spray your thistles. I don't know how it is in South Dakota, or you get fined. But anyway, I can't get back there to clean the trees up. So this road needs to be done anyway. We're in the process of constructing a road to access. So the road that will be there, we can monitor people that go by. This house is gonna be able to only have 2 to 4 people there, 1 car, so there won't be extra traffic, 1 car at a time. We can monitor the people because the road's gonna go right by our house. So, I wanna address the concerns that you had, sir, if I may, please. I wrote them down here, let me find them quick.
Looks like you cleaned them all up except the one, and that would be that our records must indicate that your septic was set up for 5 bedrooms, not 6.
Okay, well, we got 6 bedrooms.
Yeah,
We only use a couple now with
okay. Other than that, you've cleared up
Okay.
the water issue, and I understand what you're gonna use a cistern. I'm familiar with
Yep.
cistern. Your septic, you're gonna use a holding tank, and your electric's gonna come in, your gas is gonna be a tank like the rest of us out there.
I've talked to I've talked to the electric company, you got a map there, right, where the proposed line's gonna
Right.
be? Soon as, if this gets approved, they're ready to go with that. I've talked to the neighbor that owns a pasture, we signed an easement with them so that we can go in with the electric line. I will pay, my wife and I will pay for the electric
Yeah.
line, so that's all been covered.
Yeah.
I'm trying to address everything, I feel bad about when I have a couple people that have concerns and they won't come to me and I can't tell them what's going on. But I mean, they probably got a bad taste in their mouth from previous things like I mentioned that happened. So, is there any other questions that I might answer from the commission?
Madam
Lauren?
Chair?
You.
Oh, I thought you said someone else. So this is going to be a short-term rental?
Yes, we want it to be a vacation home rental
Okay,
because it brings in more income than a long-term rental.
okay,
With the winters the way they are, we probably won't even rent it out in the wintertime, with the road being steep and whatnot, you know. And we do go, sometimes we leave for a few weeks in the winter, so we want to be around to make sure everything's okay and there's no people partying up there, you know, in the summertime. And,
and it's a fairly remote property. I mean,
Excuse me?
it's fairly remote, so it's
Yes.
not like for the people that want to like,
when you go back in the corner,
yeah.
in the southwest
I'm familiar
corner,
with this area, yeah.
you cannot see,
Yeah.
from Nema Road, you can't see when they're up there with the equipment, you couldn't see the equipment either. You can't see it from Palmer, you can't see it from Nemo. I asked the U2 Ranch if they could come in from the south even, and with their equipment to
Okay.
build the road, and they were okay with that.
Are you going to remove the hitch?
Yes,
Okay,
the hitch will be gone.
okay,
We're gonna put on a permanent foundation.
okay,
Right now, they're making a level pad for it, packing it down, level pack, so it's gonna be solid. We'll
Okay.
put a concrete foundation on it, the hitch will be removed.
Okay.
There's as you can see, there's a porch to this facility, there's steps, I mean, it's like a house, only smaller.
It's a small.
I'm trying to, our tax will be under $1,000 for this.
Yeah.
So rather than construct something bigger, this is something we're trying to make a little bit of money on, and otherwise, why would I go through all this hassle, right?
So it's a small modular home.
Basically, it's a small, they call it park model.
Okay.
It's called a tiny home.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions?
Any other questions?
Madam Chair,
Sure.
are you planning on keeping the cistern full-time then? It looks like with that ditch that it really wouldn't be very feasible to get water to it otherwise, or what is
We'll
it?
have to see how it goes, sir. I might get tired of hauling water,
Yeah.
but
I haul
you're
water
right.
and it's a good job,
You haul water?
Yeah.
just because I have a property that has a cistern there,
Yeah.
and I'm a farm boy that I'm feeding the livestock.
I've talked to several neighbors to the west of us. They get tired of hauling water, but they can't get a well, so I have water available when we drill a new well. But I've looked at that, it's gonna be a pain to get a water line in there, yes, you're right. So that'll something have to be addressed in the future, but for now, we'll be doing that. And somebody had a concern about the cistern, you need water for that?
The holding
Don't
tank.
think, the
But you're-
holding tank?
But you're going to have a cistern and a holding
Right.
tank, so.
This facility, after we get electricity hooked up, you can pump water with
Both
that
pumps,
way.
yeah.
And it also has a battery backup, so in case the electricity goes out, you can hit a switch and you'll have a 12-volt electric pump will pump water
Yep.
to flush the toilet and whatnot, so
Okay.
that's taken care of. I hope I addressed everything for you.
Yeah.
If you
I
have any other questions, I feel free
I was
to-
going to have a question about, have you talked to the water board? But if you're on the water board, then you've talked to them. so-
Well, I don't understand Miss O'Neill's concern. I guess she didn't go to the meeting, she doesn't realize what transpired, I don't know.
Okay.
But-
All right. Any
Madam-
other questions?
Madam Chair, and that's kind of what I was going to say. I was going to say, even if we approve this, if there's hangups with the water board, then that's a whole different ballgame that may be a legal battle. But since you're the president of the water board.
Vice
and
president,
Vice
yeah.
president of the water board, then they're very well aware of this. So
Yes.
there you go.
And she hasn't been to the meetings, so she doesn't know what's going on, and,
Yeah.
I mean, we're maxed out right now with certificates, and the state has a limit to how many you can have. And we are well aware of that. So, our well has been, we worked on it 2 years ago, there's nothing, we never know about a well, though, what's gonna happen. But if we drill another well, it'll be a backup for the first one, and also we can accommodate the 2 empty lots, which there'll be houses there, we know that, and the other people that wanna get off the private wells. Because the one guy's telling us, I don't have the pressure, and the well keeps going down, and so, there's all issues we have to address.
Gotcha.
Can I ask one more question?
Ma'am,
There was some concern from one of the complaints that you were going to run a business. I mean, I know you're saying right now that you're retired, it's a vacation home rental. Plans change, I mean,
that'll never happen, I'm not that ambitious.
but your intent right now is not to run a
There was
business.
concern about a neighbor down the road, and he sent letters out to everybody too. I don't think there was any opposition because he built his house. And the way I understand, Kelsey, right, he was going to keep that house for a workshop, which he has done. I've talked to this gentleman. He's one of the guys that wants to hook up the Palmer water.
Yeah. Like,
He built a new house. The old house is still there. He used it for a wood workshop.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think they're just miscommunication. Like I said, if people would come talk to people, you'd clear things up. But when you don't know, then you start thinking things that aren't true. So,
All right.
is there anything else? Otherwise, I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening to me.
Any more questions for Kelsey? Okay. The chair would address a motion.
Madam Chair, as per staff's recommendation, I move that we approve COCU 24-0034.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve conditional use permit COCU 24-0034 with, are there conditions? 16 conditions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I forgot discussion, but I think we've had plenty of discussions. All right, sorry. Item number 14.
Cody Sack, Senior Planner. Item 14 is preliminary plan COPPL 24-0013. It's to create Red Track Revised and Slim Track subdivision. The applicant and landowners are Lyle and Melinda Powell and Spencer and Shelby Steffen. The surveyor is Renner Associates. Location of the property is 14397 Doffenbauer Road. Current zoning district is agriculture, existing land use is residential, access is off Doffenbauer Road, and there's no special flood hazard area. The applicants are applying to move this lot line, so the existing lot line's in blue, the proposed lot line's in red, so they're just moving that lot line 19 feet to the north. The property for Red Tract does need a on-site wastewater treatment system, needs to be pumped and inspected, and an operating license needs to be applied for. And the owner certificate needs to be corrected to include verbiage for the private access easement. Otherwise, the applicant's request appears to be in harmony with existing lots and current land uses in the area. So with that, staff is recommending approval of preliminary plan COPPL 24-0013 with conditions.
Are there questions for Cody?
I have one.
Michael?
So Cody, the only thing that's changing is just that little strip there, and that's it.
Yeah, so like 4 or 5 years ago, the previous owner of this Red Tract had the property surveyed. And the surveyor, according to the applicants for Slim Track, moved the lot line 19 feet onto their property. So they've been going back and forth for the last couple years, and this will fix that problem.
Okay, that's all. Yep.
Okay, any other questions? The chair would address a motion.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve COPPL 24-0013. No conditions, I guess, and so, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Just for the record, there is 6 conditions.
Are there? I
What?
looked, okay, then with conditions, okay.
Oh.
I looked, but I missed them, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
You would correct that motion.
On the staff's recommendation? Because it includes the one about the septic, otherwise I wouldn't have known, Karen.
All right, item 15. Hi, Megan, haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah, glad to be back. Megan Talmadge, Planner. Agenda item number 15 is a vacation of plat, COVPL 24-0007, and it's to vacate a platted private right-of-way located on the subject properties. The applicant is Daniel and Lucille Sandvin. This is located in Wolframite Estates off of Old Hill City Road. There's no flood hazard in the area. The applicants are requesting to vacate a 50-foot right-of-way. It was never improved, so no road was built within this right-of-way, and all other lots connected to this have access elsewhere. This request came about because a recent survey was done showing that the house at 1274 8 Hill City Road is located within that private right-of-way. And along with this, they also will have to obtain variances as it does not meet the proper setbacks. But no major comments were received, and especially from utility companies. They will need to update their exhibit to include the correct legal descriptions. So staff recommends approval with 2 conditions.
Are there questions for Megan?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just want to make sure that I understand. Originally, there was supposed to be a cul-de-sac, and then some other lots got combined and stuff, and so people have access on the surrounding lots in other ways, correct?
Yes, Wolframite Road is just south of that, and the other 2 lots affected have access off of Wolframite.
Okay, thank you.
I had one question. If we approve this, aren't we in effect one of the variances they won't need then, right? Because we're suggesting that you do away with the proposed,
The house is only 24 feet from the property line, and they need a 25-foot setback.
okay, even
per-
if we vacate this,
Yes.
it's still 24 feet.
Close to,
Yes.
yeah, 'cause it's 25 on either side.
Okay. What happens with the vacated property? Isn't that redivided out amongst the adjacent property owners? I guess that's what I always thought happened.
With the way it was platted as a private right-of-way,
Oh, I
it's-
see, it
it's
was
more-
already
yes.
platted as oh, okay.
Yes.
It wasn't under the old system where they didn't plat.
No.
Okay, thank you. That answers the question. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? The chair would address the motion.
I move that we approve vacation of plat COVPL 24-0007 with
Two conditions.
two conditions.
Discussion from the audience?
Actually, they aren't conditions, are they?
Did I have a second?
No,
Yeah.
that's just the review criteria, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, there's not conditions, is there?
There are two conditions.
Are there two conditions?
Yes.
Recommendation.
Oh, okay, all right. Two.
Kevin seconded that if you didn't get that, okay. Discussion from the audience? From the planning commission? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Madam Chair, items number 16, 17, and 18, I would make a motion that we discuss these as one and vote on them separately.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to discuss items 16, 17, 18 together and vote on them separately. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Morning, Commissioners. Jason Thennison, Assistant Planning Director. Agenda items number 16 and 17 are a comprehensive plan amendment, COCA 24-0010. And number 17 is rezone CORZ 24-0008. And that is to amend the comprehensive plan and rezone from Planned Unit Development District to Commercial District. The applicant is The Storage Place Incorporated. The agent is Chris Ham. Surveyor is Advanced Design Engineering and Surveying. Location is 7401 Dunsmore Road. It is 11.06 acres. Currently zoned planned unit development. Existing land uses, storage units, and there's no special flood hazard area on the property. When staff considers rezones and comprehensive plan amendments, we do look at zoning designations. As you can see on the left, current zoning on the right is future land use. What you want to key in on is the red, which is Highway Service District, essentially commercial zoning. We also look at roads and streets. Access is off Dunsmore Road. It is an urban local street, which is 66 feet wide. 42 feet of that is paved. Also look at infrastructure. There is private water and private on-site wastewater treatment. The request was sent out for interdepartmental review, and staff received no objections or concerns to the request. A little background on the property itself. PUD was established in 2017. Board of Commissioners approved an amendment to that to allow a lesser setback. You can see these structures are pretty tight here on this property line. So part of that PUD is to allow a 6-foot setback between these structures and the property line. What's happened here essentially is that this PUD was made up of a lot of other parcels here, specifically this one to the south, to the west, and to the north. Since then, those properties have been annexed into the city of Rapid City, leaving just this one remaining parcel in the PUD. So that is going to drive the rezone and comprehensive plan amendment, as well as the following request for a conditional use permit, because a storage unit business is not a use by right in a commercial district. So that will be the agenda item number 18 that's combined in this discussion as well. So with that, staff recommends approval of comprehensive plan amendment COCA 24-0010 and rezone CORZ 24-0008. And as far as agenda item 18 goes, staff would recommend that that request be continued to the January 27th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting. At that point, the rezone would be effective. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
just wanted to throw in one thing that was kind of an understood, but I hope all the members, when we discuss these together, that does not preclude that if you have individual discussion during the voting process on each one, you're allowed to do so. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I didn't hear which item you said will be continued to the January 27th meeting.
It'd be the conditional use permit for the
Okay.
storage units in a commercial
That's what I thought. I
district.
just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I have a question, a stupid
Yes,
question,
Michael?
I know. These have been here, I drive by them a lot. These have been here for a long time. What would happen if these people didn't go to this trouble and didn't do anything?
They'd have an illegal use and they'll get a letter from us.
Would be, okay, all right, Yep, fair enough.
Yeah, they were, between the city and the applicant, we've been in pretty good communication about what they're planning to do out there. Discussion with the city is that they don't want to annex this final portion of the PUD into the city limits because it's going to require dedication of right-of-way from Dunsmore Road, which would create more violations and setbacks for these storage units along Dunsmore.
Okay.
So they're choosing to leave it in the county for now.
Seemed like a lot of work
Right.
on this thing. No, that's fine,
Right.
that's fine, thank you.
Yeah, I would agree. It seems like a lot of expense for the owner for a business that was legal.
Been there for a long time.
So,
Yeah, they've since, like I said, they've annexed these properties into the city, and I believe they're selling this for commercial development, so.
Just one more question. You said that a storage unit is not allowed in a
Currently,
commercial
it's-
district?
Currently, it's not a use by right.
So the other storage units in the county, what are they zoned?
Typically, commercial with conditional use permits.
Okay, all right. So this is not like the first one the county's ever done?
No,
Okay,
not at all.
all right.
any further discussion, questions? Okay. The chair would address a motion on item number 16, COCA 24-0010.
Madam Chair, move to approve 24-0007 per staff's recommendation with 2 conditions.
It's been moved and seconded to approve this item with 2 conditions per staff's recommendation.
don't believe there are-
Discussion?
I don't believe there are conditions.
They're not conditions,
seven.
yeah.
Not on comp plan.
But just the
Pardon?
criteria review.
Aren't we on?
There are no
Oh, excuse me.
Would be a different
I
number.
hadn't flipped my page yet.
I was going to say, that's not the right
May I
number.
change my motion?
Yes.
Move to approve 24-0010 per staff's recommendation, no conditions.
No
Thank you.
conditions, okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve COCA 24-0010. Discussion from the audience. There's not many people from the audience. Discussion from the commission. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, on item number 17, the chair would address a motion.
Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, staff move to approve the rezone of RZ 24-0008 per staff recommendations.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded to approve rezone CORZ 24-0008. Are there conditions?
No.
Not yet.
Rezone.
Okay. Discussion from the audience? Discussion from the planning commission? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item number 18,
Madam Chair,
yes.
move to continue conditional use permit COCU 24-0033 to the January 27, 2025 Planning Commission meeting when commercial zoning may be effective per staff recommendation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to continue this item to January 27, 2025. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Number 19.
Good morning, Commissioners. Again, Brittany Molitor. Item 19 is conditional use permit COCU 24-0030 for the New Underwood Roping Club is to allow an event center on the subject property for the sale of liquor in an agriculture district. And this item was continued from the November 25th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting in order for staff to propose some proposed recommendations that the Planning Commission could consider if they chose to recommend approval. Staff's position is still that we are recommending denial as the use is more appropriate in a commercial zoning district. However, staff did come up with about 22, 23 conditions that the Planning Commission could consider.
Okay, are there questions, discussion, questions for Brittany?
Well, I do. The reason we backed off is so you folks would have time to figure this out, was my understanding. And now we're back to the thing where it's denied because not commercial. Why didn't we just go towards the commercial end? At this point.
Right, because the board directed us, this Planning Commission directed us to come back with proposed conditions.
Right.
Rather than a rezone and comprehensive plan amendment. That was the recommendation at the last Planning Commission meeting. Staff's position is still, because it doesn't meet the requirements of our ordinance, but because this commission directed staff to bring back conditions, that's what's in front of you right now. We did meet with the applicant last week, and we did discuss some of the concerns that we had, and the biggest one was access, making sure that there was unobstructed access to that property, and that the quiet hours and the time of the year that it would be operational. So we did discuss that, and that is reflected in the proposed conditions.
So if we were to redo this and do the commercial zoning, what you have here was all these different ones. Would that be a better thing to do it that way, or to use what's there now?
So
Except
if
this.
they were to rezone it to commercial, the issue with that is that the access does not allow commercial zoning, because there's no improved access. Commercial zoning requires 32 feet in a paved surface, and that is not something that's conducive even throughout most of the town of New Underwood. So that's why I believe that this commission went the other route to look at some conditions that they could consider if they approved it.
So if we're going to play the game on this and do these ones that you wrote up, we're going to have to do it as is without going to the commercial, realistically.
Correct, it would be a conditional use permit in agriculture district with conditions.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I'd like to find out if the applicant has reviewed all of the proposed conditions and what their take is on some of those, because that might give us a better direction.
if the applicant would like to come up.
I'm Bryce Chambliss with New Underwood Roping Club. I'm the president of the club out there, and yes, we've reviewed all these and feel that it's all doable, that we can handle all that or make all that happen.
You feel every single one of them is appropriate then?
Yes.
Okay. That's kind of all I wanted to know.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
so the review is in 6 months, or if there's a complaint, which will basically be the beginning of your season, your rodeo season. So the planning commission staff is okay with that? Is that why you put the 6-month review in?
Yes.
Okay. And you won't be able to have a Christmas party?
We don't up there anyway.
Okay,
but,
all right. I just
yeah,
wanted to make sure
We're just
because,
hoping, by this May 1st, that's kind of when our season starts, that we could potentially have, this going, I guess, by then.
okay, because it says fundraisers and social events and stuff like that. Okay. This fits your schedule for your association?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, I'm still having some reservations on the fact that we've got a permanent structure here, but we're dealing with porta potties. We just don't take that next step for the commercial. I just don't understand other than the access. And if that's what it is, that's what it is. And I still have problems with alcohol relating to high school activities, but, and that's probably not gonna go away, anything to do with county ordinance, so.
Right. And that's as we talked last time. I mean, to go the commercial route, I mean, like Brittany mentioned, I mean, for those of you who've been to New Underwood,
Or
You can
live
probably, I mean, you can probably count the number of paved streets on one hand. I mean, it's just, we're kind of a little bit different area than Rapid City. We have we have the largest 4-H rodeo in South Dakota out there every year. We bring in about 380 contestants. So I mean, the amount of people we get in there is pretty substantial. And same with the regional, high school regional rodeo. I mean, there, we probably bring in close to 200, 250 people, which this doesn't have anything to do with that because we're not gonna be selling alcohol at those events. It'd be more of our barrel racing and our team ropings that, we'd be looking to do it.
Would you clear that up? You're not gonna be selling alcohol at those events?
So we have a 4-H rodeo.
Yes.
That's not gonna be one of the events that we would be, I mean, we're not associating alcohol with the 4-H rodeo, nor the high school rodeo. But throughout the summer, we do about 6 barrel races, 5 or 6 team ropings. That's more of an adult event. So those would be more the events that we would be looking to target per se.
So you're not going to put up signs that say, this is a high school event, but if you want booze, come over here if you're old enough?
No,
I mean,
no.
because it kind of sounded like that you had adults that came to the high school things they wanted to drink. And you just did it in a separate location, no?
No, we would
Oh,
not be
okay.
doing it. And actually, I mean, I'm actually a board of directors for the high school rodeo club as well. And I mean, legally, there's nothing saying we couldn't
Yeah.
in the high school. 4-H, absolutely. I mean, it's in their bylaws that there can be no alcohol, period.
Oh, okay.
But that's not something we're looking to do.
So you're just adding the alcohol as a marketing for the adult events?
Yes. And we already, and as we had mentioned last time, I mean, we already do that. The local bar, Moe's Bar and Grill,
Brings up.
you know, they apply for the city permit. They move their license up there for these events. We're just looking at doing this as an extra so that we as a club can keep the money instead of it going back to Moe's Bar and Grill, and, you know, that way the money can go into our pockets for future improvements.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
and I'd like to point out, it's no different than the 4-H being at the fair and the rodeo here doing the 50/50 drawings. They're out there, people are buying alcohol, but they're buying the tickets for the 4-H, and it gives them that opportunity to get that revenue from the community that's coming in during these events that they do here in town, but now they can also do it out there as well.
Okay, I have a question. Your building is 20 feet by 20 feet?
I believe that's what and then it's gonna have, I think it's 24 by 24 total.
But nevertheless, it's pretty small. Are individuals that buy alcohol staying in that building, in that area? Can they wander around the whole?
So there won't be any, you know, the people buying the alcohol will not be permitted in the building. That is just for serving it. There's a covered area, 12 by 24 on the outside that we'd put some picnic tables under.
But
and then-
people won't be carrying their alcohol back over to the rodeo grounds?
And then in that, and then we don't have it today from last meeting, we're proposing about an 80-foot by 80-foot fenced-in area. We're gonna put up continuous fence for those of you, and then have one gate going in. So I mean, it's only gonna be allowed in this 80 by 80 fenced-in area around there.
Okay,
Madam Chair,
yes.
New Underwood has a long and illustrious background in dealing with the high school level rodeo thing. And I don't want that to not go part of the record because it dates back all the way to recording.
Yep.
There's books about it and names New Underwood right in it, so you do. And I appreciate you filling in with Lori there in regards to when you sell and when you don't sell and how you're going to promote that. The only problem I have, I wish you guys would then take the next step somewhere down the road and make it a little more permanent as far as the bathroom facilities and whatnot. I've never been a great lover of porta potties, and we've got a lot of other items in our ordinance that allow porta potties too, so you're not the only one that would go that direction. So I didn't want you to feel that way. Thank you.
And I can see us doing that down the road, but as a nonprofit club, I mean, we're kind of one step at a time. And there are permanent bathrooms on our adjoining property. It's not on this piece that's zoned ag. So I mean, should a person want to walk probably 75 yards, they could use a permanent bathroom. But there again, they'd have to leave the designated area and leave their alcohol there.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
are you familiar with Callie Mueller?
So, what's that?
Are you familiar with Callie Mueller?
I am not.
No, she just became the queen at the WNFR.
I did see that, yes.
Will you be inviting her out?
We'll hopefully find somebody that, yeah.
I'd like to congratulate her on her position too.
I have one question.
Yes.
On the liquor permit at this point, the way it stands now, nothing's going to happen on that until you build your 24 by 24 building.
Correct.
That's it, okay.
Yep, and we'll have to apply for a building permit and everything with that.
Good enough, that's all I have.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd make a motion to approve CU 24-0030 with the 23 staff recommended conditions.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve this item with 23 conditions. Discussion from the audience?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I do have one. If we could strike condition number 7, because it's actually a duplicate of another condition. So it would be 22 conditions, because it's
I
a
would-
duplicate of number 17.
So
I would
it'd be-
amend, I would amend my motion
Two
to
items?
22 items, striking number 7,
And renumber the rest?
and renumber the rest, yes. Is that okay with the seconder?
Second is fine with that.
Discussion from the Planning Commission? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, there's no executive session today.
No.
County Board report.
So the county board report, the Board of Commissioners concurred with the Planning Commission's recommendations from the November 25th Planning Commission meeting.
Items from the public? Nope. Items from staff?
So we just have the building permit report. If you notice, we are up quite a bit for the number of single-family homes this year. That's mainly due to the Apple Valley subdivision. Again. And also, I do have one other item that wasn't on here, is that this is the only meeting in December, just for the public's information.
Items from the membership?
Just
Charlie?
one, I'll be gone on the meeting on the 13th, which I notice that you as a chair prefer to have that on the record ahead, if we know it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing is, I wanted to just explain a little bit, so, and I won't drag the time out, because we're going to get our 10. What I was trying to allude to is, anytime we put those items together for discussion, that does not preclude us stopping an item when we vote on it and discussing prior to the vote. You can still have something that doesn't pertain to all three, that an individual item. You always have the right to discuss that as commissioners, and certainly the audience does too. I just wanted to make sure, we kind of operated without knowing that, and we've never discussed an item separately, but you can if you have a question on one.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Items from membership?
Just, so you know, I'll let you know about my schedule with all my various things going on.
Madam Chair.
Merry Christmas, everybody. That's an item from the membership.
I was just going to say, it's been a pleasure serving with you guys over the last 4 years. So I know some of you have come and gone, and some of you've returned since I was on the Planning Commission, but it's been fun. So just thank you. It was a great time serving with you guys.
Yep. Thank you for your service. Adjournment.
So moved.
Do it.
Okay.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting's adjourned.
Thanks for having only.